All right, so our client is comfortable side lying, and I'm going to show you how to undrape the back. There's really just kind of two steps. The first step is to pin and fold. So we pin here, kind of like where the underwear line is, and then fold the drape back into a big triangle. So you have a big triangle. And then make your triangle into a rectangle, like this, so that your whole back, or the client's whole back, is exposed and able to be massaged. All right, you have the whole back available, but we only work the top side from the spine up, so we call that the ceiling side. We'll work the other side when she would flip over onto her other side. So we'll just spread some lotion, and our first step will be working lamina groove. So your course packet has some lamina groove glides. I'm just really using a couple fingers. You could also use a thumb if that's more comfortable. You could potentially use a fist if you wanted. But we'll glide a few times. Your other hand can either be piggybacking or just resting on the client. Your stance is a lunge. And I believe the course packet says to do that standing at the hips and then also from the shoulders. After you've done several glides, the next lamina groove techniques are what I call the stapler and the push pin. Stapler, you're using the side of your thumb to sink on top, well, actually it would be the side of the spinous processes. So here's her spine, and I'm going to sink in and then press down toward the floor on each spinous process. I'm working all the way down to the bottom rib. Don't worry about the lumbar area, we'll do that next. So a couple passes of the stapler. I'm in a lunge, and then when I do push pin, I'll switch to the horseman stance, and now my pressure is with the pad of my thumb going toward the client's front anterior. Still in lamina groove. And this is great, not only as a treatment, but also as an assessment. You can figure out, oh, I really need to work there more later, or, oh, this is tender, let's take that into account and shift the treatment plan, work more there. Okay, lamina groove, we did glides, staple, push pin. The last technique for lamina groove. Keep your hand on your client and walk around, and we are doing raking on the lamina groove. I'm in horseman stance, and I'm kind of like sitting in my invisible chair back here so that my body weight's doing the work, not my arms. Go up and down a couple times, and then we're finished with the lamina groove. I'm not going to come back all the way around. I'm going to stop at the head. Now we're working this upper quadrant of the back. Fist glide to upper traps. And then this technique sometimes takes a couple tries, so watch carefully. The hand, I'm in a lunge, the hand that's closest to the client's feet is going to reach under her upper arm. And my hand is resting at the front of her shoulder. So one more time. I'm facing her head, reaching under her arm, and supporting the front of her shoulder. From here, we'll do several techniques. You have the hand over hand, And you can go all the way up into the cervical area. This is that's a client favorite technique for sure. Also from this area, we'll mobilize the shoulder both directions. If it feels crunchy or kind of sticky, just keep going until you have a little bit more fluidity. And then we'll work around the rhomboid area. Here's the edge, medial edge of her shoulder blade. Here's her spine. So we're working in between that area. You can do glides, circular friction, compression. You may even, depending on your client, be able to get up underneath the shoulder blade. I'm using a little bit of pressure with this shoulder hand. And then you can access the subscapularis and serratus anterior. Just working the medial edge of the shoulder blade. And finally, for this upper quadrant, you'll want to do a little bit of work in the infraspinatus and supraspinatus. You can just riff on your own and do circular friction, kneading. Don't forget that lateral border of the scapula too, though. teres minor area, that feels great. Is that okay on your arm? And then above the spine of the scapula, we've got supraspinatus. And then a nice finishing glide around that area. All right, next we'll work on the lumbar section.